I'm Rita Heichenfeld with AboutEating.com. You've heard the term flour power. Well, that's what we're talking about today. The different kinds of flour and what they're good for. Let's start with whole wheat flour. Whole wheat, all natural flour. This is really a wonderful flour to use. You see it used in whole wheat breads. It has the endosperm, the whole bran, the whole part of the wheat kernel. All the good things. Make sure you store this in the freezer because it will go rancid very, very quickly. Whole wheat is wonderful, again, for breads, certain items. People who are trying to get away from white flour are using whole wheat. You could mix half and half if you want, and your body absorbs whole wheat products more slowly so you don't get a surge of carbs. And this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful tan it is. Whole wheat flour. It's just wonderful. Now, the flour that most of us use is probably all-purpose, and this is unbleached. Just want you to read that label there. What that means is bleaching makes flour more white. And in the old days, bleaching is actually a form of aging the flour. Time is money, so now they bleach it chemically. I prefer unbleached flour. Seems like it has a little more gluten in it, which is actually the protein, and it's not quite as white. And all-purpose flour, whether it's bleached or unbleached, great for biscuits, pie dough, cookies, of course, some cakes, and even cream puffs. And I will say bread flour, which is not whole wheat. Whole wheat is whole wheat. It has all the good parts of the wheat in it. Bread flour contains more gluten protein. Some people love to use that bread flour for cream puffs. So we've talked about some of the flours. Here's another flour. Let me put this right over here. This is called Wondra. It's for making wonderful sauces and gravies. It dissolves really fast. It's not good for much else, but it's really great if you're a cook who's challenged and has lumpy gravies. This is cake flour. Now, cake flour, look how white that is. It's usually made from soft wheat, and it's sifted almost 100 times, so it's really fine. And some recipes call for cake flour, like delicate cakes. If you don't have cake flour, look on our website. We've got a great substitution with regular flour by just taking some of that out and adding cornstarch. So, all the different kinds of flours, you know what they do, but I want to show you a little experiment which is really, really fun. What we're going to do is we're going to take the whole wheat flour and the all-purpose flour, and let's put the cake flour over here, the cake flour, and the Wondra, and we're going to add water to all these flours. You're going to see what I mean when I say flour contains protein gluten. The more protein, the more gluten it contains, the more good part of the wheat it contains, the more water it's going to need. And you're going to see that visual real fast. And I put just a half a cup of flour in each of the cups. And by the way, when you're measuring dry ingredients, always use what we call a nested measuring cup. It's flat on the top. For liquids, you want to use a spouted measuring cup, because no matter if it's a 2, a 4, or a 1, they will give you some surface area on top so that you don't fill it up and spill. So that's your little tip for the day. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add just about, 1/4 cup of water to each of these. And you're going to see what happens here. Okay, and I might need a little more. It looks like I'm going to need a little more for that. Here's the whole wheat. I want you to see what happens when you stir this water into it. Whole wheat absorbs a whole lot of water. Same amount of flour, same amount of water. That looks like spackle, doesn't it? Now, all-purpose, which is, again, what most of us use, when you stir that up, you're going to see it doesn't absorb quite as much water. Not as much protein, not as much gluten. And by the way, all-purpose flour is usually made from a combination of hard winter wheats and soft winter wheats. And you know those biscuits, those southern girls, they make the greatest biscuits. That's usually made with the southern flour. It's very soft wheat. The harder the wheat, the more gluten, the less tender the product. Okay, so here we have the all-purpose. Now here we have the cake flour. Watch this. This is going to be even more. Oh, you know what? Did I reverse these, Justin? I did. Okay. It's probably time to take a break, but we're going to go on. This is the all-purpose. See what happens? Not quite as thick as the whole wheat. This is the cake flour. Same amount of flour, same amount of water. See? It's not as absorbing as much. It's a lot more runny. Now the Wondra, on the other hand, and stay right there, I do want to get some water. I'll be right back. Make sure we put about 1/4 cup in there. Remember, this is the Wondra. And look how, see how it is. It's real. You can see how smooth it is too. Hardly any lumps. This is the all-purpose, or this is the cake rather. See how smooth? This is all-purpose, and this is whole wheat. Oh, I can hardly get it out. There you go. So that's your flour power lesson for today. Remember, the right flour for the right baked goods gives you great results.